First Contact and Technological Showcase. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Captain Ilara Chen as she stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Odyssey. Her dark eyes, flecked with gold, scanned the starfield ahead, searching for any sign of the alien vessels they had been sent to intercept. The year was 3157, and humanity had spent the last millennium pushing the boundaries of innovation and exploration. "Any sign of them, Lieutenant Patel?" Ilara asked, her voice steady despite the tension that hung in the air. Aisha Patel, the ship's sensor officer, shook her head. "Nothing yet, Captain. But if the long-range scans are correct, they should be entering this sector any minute now." Ilara nodded, her hand unconsciously moving to touch the sleek metallic band on her wrist, a neural interface that connected her directly to the ship's systems. The Odyssey was humanity's crowning achievement, a vessel that incorporated technologies that would have seemed like magic to their ancestors. Suddenly, the ship's AI, spoke up. "Captain, multiple objects detected entering the system. Configurations match no known species in our database." Ilara's heart raced. This was it. First contact with a new alien civilization. "On screen, AIA," she commanded. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a breathtaking sight. A fleet of ships, unlike anything they had ever seen before, glided into view. They were massive, easily dwarfing the Odyssey, with sleek, organic lines that seemed to shimmer and shift as they moved. It was as if someone had captured the essence of a cosmic ballet and forged it into starships. "Open a channel," Ilara ordered, straightening her uniform. "This is Captain Ilara Chen of the Earth ship Odyssey, representing the United Earth Alliance. We come in peace and extend greetings from our world." For a long moment, there was no response. Then a melodic series of tones filled the bridge, accompanied by a shimmering hologram that materialized in the center of the room. The alien that appeared was tall and slender, with iridescent skin and large, multifaceted eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice a harmonious blend of sounds that the ship's translators struggled to keep up with. "I am High Emissary Zixlian of the Galactic Synarchy. We have long observed your species from afar, and the time has come for formal introductions." Ilara stepped forward, her training kicking in despite her awe. "We're honored to make your acquaintance, High Emissary. We've prepared a data packet with information about our civilization and would be happy to exchange knowledge." Zixlian's eyes sparkled with what Ilara hoped was curiosity. "Intriguing. We've noticed your rapid technological advancements over the past millennium. Perhaps a demonstration is in order." Ilara smiled, sensing an opportunity. "We'd be delighted. Initiate the quantum fold drive." The alien's eyes widened as the Odyssey's engines hummed to life. In the blink of an eye, the massive ship seemed to fold in on itself, disappearing from view only to reappear instantly on the other side of the alien fleet. "Fascinating," Zixlian breathed. "A form of faster-than-light travel we've not encountered before." "That's just the beginning," Ilara said, her pride in human accomplishments evident in her voice. "We'd be happy to give you a tour of our ship and showcase some of our other innovations." As the diplomatic dance began, Ilara couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. Humanity had come so far, and now they were ready to take their place among the stars. Over the next few hours, Ilara and her crew guided Zixlian and a small delegation of aliens through the Odyssey. They marveled at the ship's adaptive nanomaterial hull, capable of repairing itself and changing properties based on external conditions. The aliens were particularly impressed by the ship's quantum computer core, which allowed for calculations and simulations far beyond what they had thought possible. "And this," Ilara said, leading them into a large, circular room, "is our gravity manipulation chamber. We can create, modify, and even nullify gravitational fields at will." To demonstrate, she gestured to one of her crew members, who stepped into the center of the room. With a few taps on a nearby console, the crewman began to float, then spin in complex patterns, defying the laws of physics as the aliens understood them. Zixalian's multifaceted eyes seemed to sparkle with excitement. Remarkable. The applications for such technology are limitless. As they continued the tour, Ilara couldn't help but notice the growing look of concern on some of the alien faces. She had seen that look before, the realization that they might have underestimated humanity's capabilities. The tour culminated in the ship's hydroponics bay, a vast chamber filled with lush vegetation and the gentle sound of flowing water. Here, plants from Earth grew alongside carefully cultivated alien species, creating a harmonious blend of familiar and exotic. "This is how we sustain ourselves on long voyages," Ilara explained. "Our bioengineers have created plants that not only provide nutrition, but also help recycle air and water, making our ships almost entirely self-sufficient." Zixalian ran a long, slender finger along the leaf of a nearby plant. "Your species' ability to adapt and innovate is unprecedented. In all our travels, we've never encountered a civilization that has advanced so quickly." There was something in the alien's tone that made Ilara pause. Pride, concern, perhaps a bit of both. She decided to address it directly. "High Emissary, I sense that our technologies have surprised you. I want to assure you that humanity's intentions are peaceful. We seek to explore, to learn, and to cooperate with other species." Zixalian was quiet for a moment, its large eyes seeming to look through Ilara rather than at her. "Your assurances are appreciated, Captain Chen. However, you must understand that such rapid advancement often comes at a price. Many species we've encountered have destroyed themselves or others in their quest for progress." Ilara nodded solemnly. "We're well aware of the responsibilities that come with our capabilities. That's why we've implemented strict ethical guidelines and safeguards in all our technologies. We've learned from our own history and are committed to using our innovations for the betterment of all." The alien seemed to consider this, its iridescent skin shimmering as it thought. "Perhaps," it said finally, "your species is as wise as it is clever. The Galactic Synarchy will be watching your progress with great interest." As they made their way back to the bridge, Ilara could feel the weight of the moment. Humanity had made its first impression on a galactic civilization, and it seemed they had passed the initial test. But she knew this was just the beginning. Once on the bridge, Zixalian turned to address the entire crew. "Humans of Earth, you have shown us wonders we had not thought possible. Your ship, your technologies, they speak of a species with boundless potential. The Galactic Synarchy extends an invitation to your leaders to attend our next conclave. There we can discuss your place in the greater galactic community." Ilara bowed slightly, a gesture of respect she hoped translated across species. "We're honored by your invitation, High Emissary. I'll relay your message to our government immediately." As the alien delegation prepared to return to their own ship, Zixalian paused at the airlock. "Captain Chen, a word of caution. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders, but it also harbors great dangers. Not all species will view your rapid advancement as we do. Be vigilant and be wise in how you wield your impressive technologies." With that cryptic warning, the aliens departed, leaving the crew of the Odyssey to ponder the implications of their first contact. As Ilara watched the alien ships gracefully maneuver away, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just taken its first step onto a much larger stage, one filled with both incredible opportunities and unfathomable challenges. "Aria," she said, turning back to her crew, "set a course for Earth. We had a lot to report." As the Odyssey's quantum fold drive hummed to life, preparing to take them home, Ilara knew that the age of humanity's isolation was over. They had spent a millennium innovating, preparing for this moment. Now, it was time to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The stars stretched and blurred as the ship leaped into quantum space, carrying with it the promise of a new era for humankind. An era that would test their ingenuity, their resolve, and their very understanding of their place in the universe. The Great Space Race. The news of humanity's first contact with the galactic synarchy spread like wildfire across Earth and its colonies. Captain Ilara Chen found herself thrust into the spotlight, briefing world leaders and top scientists on their encounter. But as the initial excitement faded, a new reality set in. Humanity was no longer alone, and they had a lot of catching up to do. 6 months after the encounter, Ilara stood before the newly formed Interstellar Relations Committee, her uniform crisp and her expression determined. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice echoing through the Grand Hall. "The Galactic Synarchy has issued a challenge. They've invited us to participate in what they call the Grand Traverse, a race across the galaxy designed to showcase each species' technological prowess and adaptability." Murmurs rippled through the audience. Admiral Zhao, a grizzled veteran of the Mars conflicts, leaned forward. "And what exactly does this race entail, Captain?" Ilara tapped her neural interface, projecting a holographic map of the Milky Way. "The race consists of 3 stages, each testing different aspects of our capabilities. The first is a speed trial through a series of unstable wormholes. The second involves navigating a treacherous nebula filled with spatial anomalies. The final stage is an endurance run across the galactic core." Dr. Amelia Okoye, Earth's leading expert in xenobiology, frowned. "This sounds incredibly dangerous. Are we sure we're ready for something like this?" Ilara nodded, understanding the concern. "It is dangerous, Doctor, but it's also an opportunity we can't afford to pass up. The Synarchy has made it clear our performance in this race will largely determine our standing in the galactic community." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, Admiral Zhao spoke up. "What do we need to make this happen, Captain?" A small smile tugged at Ilara's lips. "Everything we've got, sir. And then some." Over the next year, Earth became a hive of activity. The best minds from every field came together, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The Odyssey underwent a series of radical upgrades, each one more audacious than the last. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, a brilliant but eccentric physicist, developed a new form of propulsion he called the probability drive. It allowed the ship to quantum tunnel vast distances by exploiting uncertainties in spacetime itself. The only drawback: no one, not even ARIA, could predict exactly where they'd end up. Meanwhile, Dr. Okoye's team created a bioengineered hull coating that could adapt to various cosmic radiations and spatial anomalies. It was like giving the ship a living, breathing skin that could heal and evolve in real time. As the day of the race approached, tension on Earth reached a fever pitch. The Odyssey, now barely recognizable from its original form, stood ready in lunar orbit. Its sleek lines now rippled with an iridescent sheen, and strange, organic-looking protrusions dotted its hull. Ilara stood on the bridge, her crew a mix of familiar faces and new specialists brought on for the race. Lieutenant Pottl remained at sensors, her expertise invaluable for the challenges ahead. Dr. Tanaka had insisted on coming along to monitor his probability drive, his wild hair and excited gestures a stark contrast to the military precision around him. "Final systems check complete," Captain Araya reported. "All innovations are functioning within expected parameters." Ilara nodded, trying to ignore the knot in her stomach. "Thank you, Araya. Open a channel to race control." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a dizzying array of alien faces, species Ilara had never seen before, each more exotic than the last, filled the screen. At the center was High Emissary Zixlian, its multifaceted eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Ah, Captain Chen." Zixlian's melodious voice filled the bridge. "We were beginning to wonder if humanity had reconsidered participating." Ilara smiled diplomatically. "Not a chance, High Emissary. We're ready and eager to begin." "Excellent," Zixlian replied. "Then let the Grand Traverse commence." The view screen split, showing the starting line, a massive, swirling vortex of energy that pulsed with otherworldly colors. Surrounding it were ships of all shapes and sizes, each representing a different alien civilization. First stage is the wormhole gauntlet, Ilara announced to her crew. Dr. Tanaka, is the probability drive ready? The eccentric scientist grinned manically. Ready as it'll ever be, Captain. Just remember, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Ilara took a deep breath. All right then. Helm, take us in. Engage the probability drive on my mark. The Odyssey surged forward, joining the throng of ships as they approached the first wormhole. The energy vortex grew larger on the view screen, its swirling patterns hypnotic and terrifying. 3, 2, 1, mark. Dr. Tanaka slammed his hand down on a conspicuously large red button. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, reality itself seemed to hiccup. The bridge lurched, and Ilara felt as if she was being turned inside out and back again in the span of a heartbeat. When the sensation passed, the view screen showed nothing. Just empty space. Report. Ilara barked, fighting down a wave of nausea. Lieutenant Patel's fingers flew over her console. Sensors are recalibrating, Captain. I'm not sure where we are. Dr. Tanaka let out a whoop of joy. It worked. We've tunneled through probability itself. We could be anywhere in the galaxy right now. As if on cue, a familiar swirling vortex appeared on the view screen. The exit of the final wormhole in the gauntlet. Ilara's eyes widened in disbelief. We've skipped the entire first stage. Confirm our position. Confirmed, Captain. The AI responded, a note of surprise in its synthetic voice. We are indeed at the exit point of the wormhole gauntlet. We appear to be the first ship to arrive. A cheer went up from the crew, but Ilara remained focused. No time to celebrate yet. The nebula stage is next, and we've lost our advantage of surprise. Helm, take us in. Dr. Okoi, it's time to see what your adaptive hull can do. As the Odyssey plunged into the swirling gases of the nebula, Ilara couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. They had taken a massive risk with untested technology, and it had paid off. But she knew the race was far from over. The nebula was a riot of color and energy, with spatial anomalies warping the very fabric of space around them. The ship shuddered as it encountered the first wave of exotic particles. Hull integrity at 95% and holding, Dr. Okoi reported, her eyes glued to her readouts. The adaptive coding is learning. Fascinating. Indeed, the ship's hull was changing before their eyes, developing new patterns and textures as it adapted to the nebula's strange environment. Other ships began to appear on their sensors, many struggling with the harsh conditions. Captain, Lieutenant Patel called out, I'm detecting a massive gravimetric disturbance ahead. It looks like a cosmic string. Ilara's blood ran cold. Cosmic strings were theoretical remnants from the birth of the universe, with gravity so intense they could slice through a planet like butter. Evasive maneuvers. But as the helm officer tried to alter course, the ship lurched, caught in the string's gravitational pull. Alarms blared as they were dragged inexorably towards certain destruction. Dr. Tanaka. Ilara shouted over the chaos. Can the probability drive get us out of this? The scientist's face was pale, but his eyes gleamed with manic energy. Maybe. But if I'm off by even a fraction, we'll be scattered across half the galaxy. Ilara looked around at her crew, saw the trust in their eyes, and made her decision. Do it. Once again, reality seemed to hiccup. The cosmic string, the nebula, everything vanished in a kaleidoscope of impossible colors. When the universe reasserted itself, they found themselves exactly where they had been, but with the cosmic string now behind them. Did we just quantum tunnel through a cosmic string? Lieutenant Patil asked, her voice filled with awe. Dr. Tanaka giggled hysterically. We did. We surfed the very edge of probability itself. Ilara allowed herself a small smile. Well done, everyone. But let's not celebrate yet. We still have the galactic core to navigate. As they emerged from the nebula, the scoreboard showed the Odyssey in the lead, but only by a narrow margin. The final stage would decide everything. The galactic core loomed ahead, a seething mass of stars and black holes so dense it defied comprehension. This would be the true test, not just of their technology, but of their courage and determination. All hands, brace for core entry, Ilara commanded. Let's show the galaxy what humanity is made of. As the Odyssey plunged into the heart of the Milky Way, Ilara knew that win or lose, humanity had already proven itself. They had faced impossible odds with ingenuity and daring, embodying the very spirit of exploration and innovation that had brought them to the stars. The race was far from over, but one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity's ingenious defense. The Odyssey emerged from the galactic core, its hull glowing with the residual energy of 1,000 near misses with black holes and neutron stars. Captain Ilara Chen let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had not only completed the Grand Traverse, but had finished in the top 3. As the crew celebrated their monumental achievement, a transmission cut through their jubilation. High Emissary Zixlian's hologram materialized on the bridge, its multifaceted eyes gleaming with an emotion Ilara couldn't quite place. "Congratulations, Captain Chen." Zixlian's melodious voice resonated. "Your species has proven itself, more capable than we anticipated." The Galactic Synarchy formally extends an invitation for Earth to join our coalition. Ilara nodded respectfully. "We're honored, High Emissary. I'll relay your invitation to our leaders immediately." As the transmission ended, Ilara couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Something in Zixlian's tone had seemed off. She pushed the thought aside as they set course for Earth, eager to share their triumph with humanity. The homecoming celebration was beyond anything Ilara had imagined. Parades, speeches, and a global holiday marked humanity's arrival on the galactic stage. But as the festivities wound down, the real work began. In a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Ilara found herself in a room with Earth's top military and scientific minds. Admiral Zhao, his face grim, addressed the gathering. "While we've been celebrating, our deep space monitoring stations have picked up concerning activity," he said, activating a holographic display. It showed a massive fleet of ships, far larger than anything they'd encountered before, moving steadily towards Earth. Dr. Okoye leaned forward, her brow furrowed. "Those aren't Synarchy ships. Who are they?" A cold silence fell over the room. It was Ilara who finally spoke. "They're the dangers Zixlian warned me about. The ones who wouldn't view our advancement favorably." Admiral Zhao nodded grimly. "We're calling them the Harvesters. From what we can tell, they move from galaxy to galaxy, stripping advanced civilizations of their technology and resources. How long do we have?" Ilara asked, her mind already racing with possible strategies. "At their current speed, 3 months, the Admiral replied. "We've kept this information from the public to prevent panic, but we need solutions, and we need them fast." Dr. Tanaka, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, suddenly perked up. "What if we could hide the entire planet?" All eyes turned to the eccentric physicist. "Explain," Admiral Zhao demanded. Tanaka's eyes gleamed with excitement. "We could adapt the probability drive technology. Instead of moving a ship through space, we move the entire planet through probability." The room erupted in a cacophony of voices, some dismissing the idea as ludicrous, others cautiously intrigued. Ilara raised her hand for silence. "It's insane," she said, "but it might be our best shot." "Dr. Tanaka, what do you need to make this happen?" Over the next 2 months, Earth became a hive of frenzied activity. The probability drive was scaled up to unprecedented levels, with massive generators being constructed at strategic points around the globe. Dr. Okoye's team worked tirelessly to create a planetary version of the adaptive hull, a shield that could protect the Earth from the rigors of probability tunneling. As the Harvester fleet drew closer, tension mounted. The plan was risky at best, catastrophic at worst, but it was the only plan they had. 2 weeks before the estimated arrival of the Harvesters, Ilara stood in the Global Control Center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the status of the planetary probability drive. Dr. Tanaka was making last-minute adjustments, his wild hair even more disheveled than usual. "Remember," he said, his voice uncharacteristically serious, "once we activate this, there's no telling where or when we'll end up. We could emerge anywhere in the universe, at any point in time." Ilara nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. "It's a risk we have to take. Are we ready?" Dr. Okoi's voice came through the comm system. "Adaptive shield is online and stable. We're as ready as we'll ever be." Admiral Zhao, standing beside Ilara, gave a curt nod. "Do it." Ilara took a deep breath and pressed her palm against the activation panel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the world outside the view screens began to shift. Colors blurred, reality seemed to warp and bend. Ilara felt that familiar sensation of being turned inside out and back again, but magnified 1,000-fold. When the sensation passed and the view screens cleared, they showed nothing. No stars, no galaxies, just an endless void of absolute darkness. "Where are we?" Admiral Zhou demanded. Dr. Tanaka was frantically checking his instruments. I don't know. According to these readings, we're nowhere. We've moved outside of probability itself." As the implications of their situation sank in, alarms began to blare. Dr. Okoi's panicked voice came through the comm. "The adaptive shield is failing. Whatever's out there, it's unlike anything we've encountered before. We need to move now." Ilara's mind raced. They had escaped the Harvesters, but at what cost? They were adrift in a realm beyond space and time, with their only protection rapidly failing. "Dr. Tanaka," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos around her, "can you get us back?" The physicist shook his head, not without a reference point. "We're completely cut off from our universe." For a moment, despair threatened to overwhelm her. Then an idea struck. Wait. The Odyssey. Its probability drive operates on a smaller scale. Could we use it to scout for a way home? Dr. Tanaka's eyes widened. Yes, that might work. We could send the Odyssey out as a probe, looking for a way back to our universe. The physicist shook his head, not without a reference point. We're completely cut off from our universe. For a moment, despair threatened to overwhelm her. Then, an idea struck. Wait. The Odyssey. Its probability drive operates on a smaller scale. Could we use it to scout for a way home? Dr. Tanaka's eyes widened. Yes, that might work. We could send the Odyssey out as a probe, looking for a way back to our universe. Admiral Zhao nodded grimly. It's our only option. Captain Chen, looks like you have one more mission. Within hours, Ilara was back on the bridge of the Odyssey. Her hand hovered over the activation switch for the probability drive. Behind her, Earth floated in the view screen, a blue marble suspended in absolute nothingness. All right, ARIA, she said, steeling herself for what was to come. Let's find our way home. As she engaged the drive, the Odyssey vanished in a flicker of impossible light, leaving Earth alone in the void. The fate of humanity now rested on Ilara and her crew finding a path through the improbable, a way back from the edge of existence itself. The search for home had begun, and with it, humanity's greatest adventure yet. COP, alien alliances, and cosmic challenges. The Odyssey tumbled through realms beyond human comprehension, each activation of the probability drive hurling them into stranger and more impossible realities. Captain Ilara Chen had lost count of how many jumps they'd made, each one a desperate attempt to find a trace of their home universe. Status report, Ilara commanded, her voice hoarse from lack of sleep. Lieutenant Patel's fingers danced over her console. Still no sign of our universe, Captain. But I'm detecting something. It's unlike anything we've seen before. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that defied explanation. Before them floated what appeared to be a city, but one that twisted and folded in on itself in ways that shouldn't be possible. It pulsed with energy, sections of it phasing in and out of existence. "My God," Dr. Tanaka whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's a probability nexus, a place where all possibilities converge." Before Ilara could respond, a beam of energy lanced out from the city, enveloping the Odyssey. For a moment, Ilara feared they were under attack. But instead of damage, the ship's systems began to recalibrate, adapting to the strange physics of this realm. A voice, or rather a chorus of voices, echoed through the bridge. "Welcome, travelers. We are the Nexus Keepers. We've been expecting you." Ilara exchanged glances with her crew. "You've been expecting us. All probabilities converge here," the voices replied. "We've seen every possible version of your journey. Come, there is much to discuss." The Odyssey was gently drawn into the impossible city. As they docked, Ilara made a decision. "Dr. Tanaka, Lieutenant Patel, you're with me. The rest of you, stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." As they stepped off the ship, reality seemed to bend around them. They found themselves in a vast chamber that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Beams of pure energy floated before them, their forms constantly shifting and changing. "You seek a way back to your universe," the Nexus Keepers said, their voices resonating from everywhere and nowhere. "But you do not understand the true nature of your predicament." Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his awe. "What do you mean?" "We used our probability drive to escape a threat, and now we're lost." The Keeper's forms shimmered. "Your drive did more than move you through space. It shifted your entire planet into a state of quantum superposition. Your Earth exists in all possible states simultaneously. To return, you must collapse the wave function, but doing so blindly could be catastrophic." Ilara's mind reeled at the implications. "So how do we get back safely?" "We can help you navigate the probabilities," the Keepers replied. "But there is a price. The beings you call the Harvesters are a plague across multiple realities. In exchange for our aid, you must help us stop them." Ilara hesitated. They had come seeking a way home, not to get embroiled in a multiversal conflict. But she knew they had little choice. "What do you need us to do?" The chamber shifted, and suddenly they were surrounded by holographic representations of various alien species, each as bizarre and wondrous as the last. "These are other civilizations from across the multiverse, all threatened by the Harvesters," the Keepers explained. "You must forge an alliance, combining your technologies and strategies to create a defense that transcends individual realities." Over the next few weeks, if time had any meaning in this place, the Odyssey became the center of a flurry of diplomatic and scientific activity. Ilara and her crew worked tirelessly, bridging language and cultural gaps, mediating disputes, and overseeing the integration of technologies beyond their wildest imaginations. Dr. Tanaka collaborated with a species of silicon-based lifeforms to enhance the probability drive, allowing for more precise navigation through realities. Lieutenant Patel worked with energy beings to upgrade the Odyssey's sensors, giving them the ability to detect quantum fluctuations across dimensions. But it was Dr. Okoye's project that held the most promise. Working with a collective consciousness of gaseous entities, she was developing a weapon that could disrupt the Harvester's ability to traverse realities, potentially trapping them in a single universe. As the alliance grew stronger and their defenses more formidable, Ilara couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. Humanity, once isolated on its tiny blue planet, was now at the center of a multiversal coalition. However, their progress didn't go unnoticed. During a strategy session with the alien leaders, alarms blared throughout the Nexus. The harvesters, the keepers' voices resonated with urgency. They'd found us. They're attacking the Nexus itself. The view screen came to life, showing a terrifying sight. A massive fleet of harvester ships, more numerous than they had ever imagined, was bearing down on the probability Nexus. But they weren't alone. Behind them, barely visible, was a familiar blue marble. Earth, Ilara gasped. They'd brought Earth with them. The realization hit her like a physical blow. The harvesters hadn't just been after Earth's technology. They had sensed the planet's state of quantum superposition and sought to harvest its near-infinite potential energy. "We need to collapse Earth's wave function," Dr. Tanaka shouted over the chaos. "It's the only way to save both our planet and the Nexus." Ilara turned to the assembled alien leaders. "This is it. Everything we've prepared for. Are you with us?" The response was unanimous. Ships of every conceivable design and vessels of pure energy assembled around the Odyssey. It was the most diverse and powerful fleet ever assembled across any reality. As the harvesters closed in, Ilara took her place on the Odyssey's bridge. All ships assumed defensive positions. "Dr. Okoye, is the quantum disruptor ready?" "As ready as it'll ever be, Captain," came the response. Ilara took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on the approaching harvester fleet and the vulnerable Earth behind them. "Then let's make history. All ships, engage." The battle that followed was beyond description, a clash that shook the very foundations of reality. The Odyssey danced through probability itself, its enhanced drive allowing it to appear and disappear across the battlefield, striking at the harvesters from impossible angles. The alien allies brought weapons and defenses that defied the laws of physics as humanity understood them. Energy beams that twisted through multiple dimensions, shields that existed in the spaces between moments. But the harvesters were relentless, their numbers seeming endless. For every ship they destroyed, 2 more took its place. The Nexus shuddered under their assault, cracks appearing in the very fabric of possibility. "We can't hold them off forever," Lieutenant Patel shouted over the din of battle. "We need to end this now." Ilara nodded grimly. "Dr. Okoye, it's time. Fire the quantum disruptor." A beam of pure possibility lanced out from the Odyssey, striking the lead harvester ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a cascade of falling dominoes, the harvester fleet began to flicker and fade. "It's working," Dr. Tanaka exclaimed. "They're being forced into a single reality." But as the harvesters faded, so too did their grip on Earth. The planet began to shimmer, its quantum state destabilizing. "Earth's wave function is collapsing." The keepers' voices rang out. "Captain Chen, you must guide it back to your reality." Ilara's hands flew over her console, the probability drive humming to life. "Odyssey to all Earth defense systems. Lock onto our signal. We're going home." As the Nexus and their alien allies faded from view, replaced by the familiar starfield of their home universe, Ilara allowed herself a moment of relief. They had done it. Earth was safe, the harvesters were defeated, and humanity had proven itself on a cosmic scale. But as she looked out at the stars, Ilara knew this was just the beginning. They had seen wonders beyond imagination, and forged alliances across realities. The universe, no, the multiverse, was vast and full of both wonders and dangers. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. The Galactic Revolution. The return of Earth to its home universe sent shockwaves through the galactic community. The planet that had vanished without a trace months ago had reappeared, bringing with it tales of impossible journeys and alliances that spanned realities. Captain Ilara Chen found herself once again standing before the galactic synarchy, but this time, the atmosphere was markedly different. High Emissary Zixlian's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with a mix of awe and apprehension. "Captain Chen, we owe you and your species an apology. We had no idea of the true threat the harvesters posed, nor did we anticipate your innovative solution." Ilara stood tall, her experiences having forged her into a leader who could stand confidently before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. High Emissary, we accept your apology. But more importantly, we come with a proposal. The threats we face are bigger than any one species, any one galaxy. It's time for a change. Over the next few hours, Ilara laid out a plan that would reshape the very foundations of galactic society. She spoke of the alliances they had forged in the probability nexus, of technologies that could revolutionize travel, communication, and defense. But more than that, she spoke of a vision for a truly united galaxy, one that could stand against threats from beyond their reality. The council chamber erupted into chaos as various factions argued for and against the radical proposals. But as the debate raged, a curious thing began to happen. Ships began appearing in the space around the Synarchy homeworld. Ships of designs never before seen in this galaxy, crewed by beings that defied description. Our allies, Ilara explained, a small smile playing on her lips. They found a way to cross between realities safely. Thanks to our combined efforts, they're here to help us build a better future. The arrival of these impossibly advanced allies tipped the scales. Over the following months, a new galactic order began to take shape. The rigid hierarchies of the old Synarchy gave way to a more dynamic, collaborative structure. Earth, once a newcomer on the galactic stage, now found itself at the heart of this new coalition. Dr. Tanaka's probability drive technology, combined with the insights gained from their multiversal allies, led to a revolution in space travel. Distances that once took years to cross could now be traversed in the blink of an eye. The galaxy, once vast and largely unexplored, suddenly felt much smaller. Dr. Okoi's work on adaptive technologies blossomed into an entirely new field of study. Planets that were once uninhabitable could now be terraformed in months rather than centuries. Species that could never have coexisted now found themselves living side by side, protected by environments that adapted to their unique needs in real time. But perhaps the most profound change came in the realm of communication and understanding. The experiences shared by the Odyssey crew and their multiversal allies led to the development of technologies that could bridge not just language barriers, but conceptual ones. Ideas and experiences could be shared directly, mind to mind, fostering a level of empathy and cooperation never before seen. 5 years after their return, Ilara stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, a massive structure that served as the headquarters for the new multiversal coalition. The station hung in space at the nexus of several probabilistic routes, a shimmering beacon of cooperation and innovation. "Quite a view, isn't it?" a familiar voice said behind her. Ilara turned to see Admiral Zhao, now serving as Earth's representative to the coalition. "Sometimes I still can't believe it's real," Ilara admitted, gazing out at the bustling traffic of ships from 100 different realities. Zhao nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. "You should be proud, Captain. None of this would have been possible without you and your crew." Before Ilara could respond, a shimmer in space caught her attention. A moment later, a massive ship appeared, its design a mind-bending fusion of organic and mechanical elements. The latest arrival from one of their allied realities. "The forgers are here," Ilara noted, recognizing the ship's unique signature. Right on time for the conference. The Multiversal Scientific Conference had become the most anticipated event across multiple realities. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and states of matter gathering to share knowledge and push the boundaries of what was possible. As they made their way to the conference hall, Ilara couldn't help but reflect on how far they'd come. From a single ship lost in the improbable to the heart of a multiversal renaissance, humanity had not only found its place among the stars, but had helped reshape the very nature of galactic society. The conference hall was a marvel of engineering, able to accommodate beings that existed as pure energy alongside those that required extreme gravitational conditions. As Ilara took her place at the podium to deliver the opening address, she saw faces and other sensory organs filled with excitement and hope. "Friends, colleagues, beings of all realities," she began, her voice carrying clearly across the diverse audience. We stand here today on the brink of a new era. An era where the boundaries between possible and impossible blur, where the combined knowledge of countless civilizations opens doors we never knew existed. She paused, looking out at the assembled beings. In the front row, she saw her old crew, Dr. Tanaka, practically bouncing with excitement at the ideas about to be shared. Dr. Okoi, deep in conversation with a being of pure thought. Lieutenant Patel, now Captain Patel, representing a new generation of explorers ready to push even further into the unknown. But as we celebrate our achievements, Ilara continued, her tone becoming more serious. We must also remember the challenges that brought us together. The harvesters may have been defeated, but they were a symptom of a larger problem. A problem of isolation, a fear of the unknown. The hall fell silent, beings of all kinds hanging on her every word. Our strength lies not in our individual advancements, but in our connections, in the bridges we build between realities, species, and ideas. As we go forward, let us remember that every breakthrough, every discovery, is a chance to lift all of us higher. As Ilara concluded her speech, the hall erupted in a cacophony of cheers, trills, psionic pulses, and every other conceivable form of applause. In that moment, surrounded by beings from across the multiverse, united in their pursuit of knowledge and understanding, she felt a profound sense of hope for the future. Humanity's journey to the stars had been just the beginning. Their true destiny, it seemed, was to serve as a bridge between realities, a catalyst for a revolution that spanned the very fabric of existence itself. As the conference began in earnest, ideas flowing freely between beings of unimaginably different backgrounds, Ilara knew that the greatest adventures still lay ahead. The age of isolation was over. The multiverse awaited, and humanity, along with their new allies, was ready to face whatever challenges it might bring. Together, they would write the next chapter in the grand cosmic story, one of unity, discovery, and endless possibility.